Oh, good morning, folks. How's
Good
everyone?
morning.
Good morning. Let me tell you, I hate the first day of a new class, but it makes it so much easier that it's pretty much everyone I know already. So, right. Well, let's give some folks enough time to pop in. I know we have some new people joining us today, so I hope they received the email and the Zoom link and all of that. I love trig. I think that I don't know that I would call it hard, but I think that it's a very geometric way of looking at things. Want to know if you need to memorize the unit circle. Um, yes. I think the short answer is yes. Yes, but we're gonna be able to kind of construct it and think about really where it comes from rather than just throwing a bunch of fractions at you and being like, here, memorize this. Like I really want to spend some time on Tuesday, I think. Yep. Sorry, not Tuesday, on Wednesday, talking about sort of where it comes from and why. Why? Why do you say that the unit circle is so hard? Because you think memorizing is hard or because you think the unit circle? Um, yeah. Well, I think I'm not a big fan of memorizing, but I think that I like to memorize the first quadrant. Yeah. Yeah, we do have a new syllabus and we have some new folks in class. And we're gonna spend a little bit of time, doing that today. Yeah. What makes it annoying? Just that things are similar. All right, I see a couple new folks in here. Don't be intimidated if you're new. Folks are very friendly, as you can tell. Yeah, so I think instead of being a class of 31, we're going to be a class of 36 this semester, or this second half. So we've got about 5 new folks with us. And these classes are designed to be smaller than the regular Mesa classes. So a lot of the math classes at Mesa, I think the cap is like 46, right? So about 10 more people than we have right now. But we choose these classes to be smaller on purpose so that we can make sure that everyone gets to know each other, that we all know who each other are, and that I can sort of spend enough time as I need to help everyone be successful, not just people who show up or people who don't show up, but that we can all kind of grow together as a cohort. All right. Cool, cool. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, if anyone joins us a little bit late, that's totally fine. These sessions are recorded and they'll be posted on Canvas. So if you ever miss a session or your internet cuts out or my internet cuts out, well, that's just not a good case. But if your internet cuts out, then at least you can come back and watch the video later. But let's go ahead and get started. So I know that a lot of you have been with me since way back in August, but some of you are new. So we're going to take a look at the new course syllabus and everything on Canvas, and just do a quick overview. Feel free to pop any questions that you have into the chat window. That is totally fine, or you can unmute yourself and ask out loud. That is also totally fine. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can take a look at. So we can take a look at Canvas. All right. Is everyone able to see that screen? Okay. All right. So with Canvas, we want to make sure now that we're in the Math104 Canvas shell. Okay, so for those of you who were in Math116 with me, we just want to make sure we're checking the right Canvas page now, that we're in Math104. The layout of it should be pretty similar to the last class, but for those of you who are new, the home page, when you get to the home page, that's where you're going to find all of the different assignments. But the top little blob is logistics. So if you're interested in the course syllabus, you can click there, the course schedule, the link to the Zoom room password, which if you made it into today's session, you already figured this part out. There's a link for Val's tutoring session. So Val's going to pop by at the end of class today. And she is our classroom tutor who works with us and she and I also work together pretty closely to make sure that we know, sort of what should be focused on in those sessions and how best to keep supporting you all. There's a little blurb on the quizzes and exams. And then there's a little blurb on the web assign code. After that, you'll see a different module for every unit we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning 4 different units. The first unit is trigonometric functions, and that's all these 4 sections here. I'm going to click on this one for today, just in case you didn't get here yet. If you click on the section for 5.1, all the pages are going to look like this, but you'll see a little tab for the blank notes. If you click on this, then it'll take you to a Google Doc where you can go ahead and print out your own notes, or you can upload them to a tablet, or you can just have them to look at on the screen, but you'll have access to all the notes. These will be the notes that I write on during class. And then when we're done with class, I'll upload my complete notes here. So there'll be a link to a new file. And then whatever video we have for the class, I'll link that right there. So for whatever section we cover, you'll see blank notes, complete notes, and a lecture video. Okay. I do actually want to start with the course syllabus and talk about a couple changes specifically. Okay, so we're going to talk through this a little quickly, but I want to focus mostly on the changes, what makes it a little different than before. All right, so course syllabus. This is officially Math104 Trigonometry. We meet from 9:35 to 12:35 on Mondays and Wednesdays in the Zoom room right here. My office hours are typically before class, 8:30 to 9:30, Mondays and Wednesdays. I did not have office hours this morning because I figured some of us were new and we might not know about them. So for this week only, I'm going to do Tuesday, Thursday. But after that, every other week will be Monday, Wednesday. Okay. So required text. We used a free textbook online from OpenStax. And there is a WebAssign component to it, but the good news is if you were in class from the last class, your WebAssign code rolls right over and you do not need to do a single thing, okay? So we're using the same WebAssign platform that we were using last time. Attendance. I'm not super strict about online attendance, but I do really encourage you to make sure that you show up or schedule a regular time outside of class where you are going to be watching the videos and making sure you stay up to pace. This is an accelerated course, meaning this is a regular 16-week course, but we're cramming it into 8 weeks, so it does go pretty quickly. And sometimes if we're not ready for that, it can feel very overwhelming even like a week or two in. Okay, so this part right here is really meant to just encourage you to attend class. Blah, 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 read through those student learning objectives and outcomes at some point. Those are probably the very dressed up ways of saying all the things that we're gonna be learning. Okay, but the same topics are also sort of listed in our course schedule, okay? Academic integrity. Don't cheat, don't do it. It's just not a good idea, okay? If you, good question. So we don't typically accelerate the calculus just because, especially Math 150, it's a 5-credit class. So like we're taking a 3-credit class right now, but Math 150 is a 5-credit class because it's good to have that time. I've had some students who maybe took an accelerated version at a different school, and if the Calc 1 is not good and you want to go on to Calc 2 and 3, then Calc 2 and 3 become really, really challenging. DSPS accommodation. So I do want to point this out that for those of you who maybe had extended time or other accommodations in high school, if you have your paperwork, you can bring it right to DSPS. I know we're not on campus right now, but you can email them and they will help get you set up with those accommodations. So for example, if you're like, you know what, I used to get extended time in high school and then how come I don't get it in college? If you have the paperwork, you just need to submit it. They'll let me know and then we can give you extended time on exam. Okay, so if that's something that that you have, please reach out to me or talk straight to DSPS and they will help get you set up with that. Classroom behavior, blah, 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 blah. Important dates, read these over. It is a pretty quick class. So the last day to add and drop this class without a withdraw is this Friday, which is pretty crazy. You have 2 days to decide whether you like this enough to stay in it or not. But if you're like, oh, I'm not really sure, there is a withdrawal deadline that is later on this semester, which is November 13th, and that is the withdrawal deadline, okay? Our last day of class will be Monday, December 14th, and we'll kind of talk about whether we need to meet that day or not. Okay, so things that are probably more exciting. How do we earn the grades we want to earn? I think my internet feels like it's Monday too. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for this to kind of settle out, in the chat window, thank you, Natalia, there is a STEM core study group, which has been super, super awesome. So if you are new to the class, then go ahead and message her and she will 100% help you. Okay, so grading scale. One thing that we have here at San Diego Community College is we do not have pluses and minuses. So a 91 is the same as 100 on your GPA. It's an A, all right? An 80 to an 89.999 is a B. And then a 70 to a 79.999 is like a C. If you want to earn credit for your classes, that A, B, or C mark is really where you want to be. The D does not count for credit. Like you don't get really anything out of that class. You're not allowed to move on to a class that requires that as a prerequisite if you have the D. Okay, I know that's a little bit different from some of the high schools where D is passing, but when when we're here at college, the D is considered a non-passing grade. But here's where things start to get a little interesting. Okay, so we're going to have some classwork and participation grades. This will be about 80 points over the entire semester, and this is all out of 1,000 points. Okay, so about 80 of those points are going to be classwork and participation. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Some of these are going to be based on attendance. Some of it will be based on something I ask you to turn in, but some of those will be graded. Some of them won't be graded. Just make sure you get the assignment done. Okay. Something new. So I took a little poll at the end of the Math 116 class, and by and large, people were like, live lectures, really good. Quizzes, super helpful. Unit exams. It was kind of a toss-up between whether people felt like they did well or didn't do well on those, and I completely get that. I think that it's natural to be nervous anytime we go into taking a test, and I don't want it to be sort of the focal point of our grade, but I also know it's an important skill that we do need to develop, okay? But to sort of deal with this, like some people didn't really feel like they got a lot out of WebAssign, which again, I totally understand. We're gonna sort of mix up this part of the grade. So there'll be 160 points for something called the math and writing assignments. And before you start rolling your eyes like, oh, writing and math, you have a choice, okay? So each week, I'm gonna post a math or writing assignment prompt on Canvas. And they're due every Sunday by 11:59 p.m. Now, each week you have a choice of what you do. So whatever you choose this week, if you don't like it, you can choose something else next week. If you don't like that, you can choose something else week 3, okay? I know that some people really do like WebAssign, so I did keep that as one of the options, okay? So you can choose to do that, but you can also say, hey, like, I'm gonna do my WebAssign, but don't put it into my grade. I'm gonna do the math and writing assignment for the grade, okay? So that's really helpful for you to be able to choose. Yeah, I think, Eric, that's a really good point. So the purpose for WebAssign, I think, is to make sure that you kind of get exposure to different flavors of questions, because yes, I'm writing these tests and maybe the quizzes are more aligned, but I also want to make sure you're getting to see other flavored questions as well, okay? But if you don't find that helpful, then it's something you don't really need to worry too much about, okay? And if you like it, just to say, hey, I want to practice this on my own time, maybe as an extra review before the test, but I don't want it to count as my grade, you are still 100% welcome to do that, okay? So we'll finish looking at the syllabus and then we'll go in and talk about the math and writing assignments. The quizzes are going to be just like the Math 116. So we will have a quiz after every class. These are take-home quizzes, and I tend to post them in advance if you want to work ahead. And with these 14 quizzes, they're going to be consisting of problems that are similar to the problems we do in lecture, but also fairly aligned to what we have on the exam, okay? When you submit your quizzes, please upload it as a single PDF to Canvas. And then last but not least, we've got our unit exams. So we're still going to have 4 unit exams at 100 points each, and then we'll have a comprehensive final exam at the end. Now, I do want to just talk about this little blurb here that as of right now, on day 1, everyone is in good standing. And that means that every single one of you, if you bomb an exam during the semester, it just wasn't your day or it wasn't your unit, if you do better on your final exam than you did on that lowest unit exam grade, then I will replace your low exam grade with your higher grade. Okay. Now I've done that for Math 116. I did go back and look at who might benefit from having that numerically. And so some of you saw quite a big boost in your grade. And some of you, it definitely made a difference to see that positive trajectory through the entire course. And some of you it was like a point or two higher, and it didn't really matter that much in your grade. But I think one thing I want to tell you is I'm really proud of how you did on the final. Like, folks showed me that there was a lot of growth. Questions that people got wrong the first time, I saw that people got them right the second time. And that's really important. Extra credit, there will be extra credit available. So the extra credit has also been entered into your grades for Math 116, but the extra credit points tend to get put in sort of at the very end of the semester, okay? Are there any questions about the syllabus so far? Yeah, one thing, Eric, about the WebAssign, I think I bumped it to like 1,000 tries or something like that, because I know 5 can be kind of stressful. So it's like unlimited tries basically now for WebAssign. Yeah. Okay. You know what though? Sometimes you just keep, I don't know. Sometimes they want a very particular thing and you gotta think about what they're looking for. Okay. So let's go back to the, oh gosh, where did I put it? Assignments. Okay. So if you click on assignments, which is in this side toolbar over here, it will list, for you guys, it looks like this, all of your upcoming assignments. And it has them all in order by deadline. I have most of the assignments for the semester in here. I don't have the classworks yet, but most of them are in here, which means that you can play what if. Like, you can like put in like, oh, what if I get 100 on all the tests? Like, how much work do I actually have to do to still get an A? You can play that game if you want to, okay? Or you can say, hey, what if I like do super well on all the quizzes and like I bomb the tests? What kind of grade might I end up with? So because the assignments are in here, you can kind of play around with your own grade and see how you are doing. Erin, good question. Are you part of STEM Core? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then the answer is no. But do you know if you're part of STEM Core? Well, the only reason I ask, and we can talk about this later, is if you are in STEM Core, we did pay for your WebAssign. If you're not in STEM Core, we do not pay for your WebAssign. I did try and choose the cheapest option, so it's like 40 bucks, I think, for the WebAssign. Okay. And we can chat more about that later if you have more questions. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's chat later. Let's see if you let me know if there are any issues around the payment for WebAssign. Okay, the one assignment I want to take a look at is the math and writing assignment. So if we click on the math and writing assignment, okay, so this is the new piece to what we're going to be taking a look at. So for the math and writing assignment, you have 3 options that you can choose from for week 1. Okay. Option number 1, interview with a mathematician. And so read through this on your own time. Here's a sample video. But what I've done is I pulled together a page that has links to a whole bunch of interviews with mathematicians. And I'm going to ask you to sort of answer these questions here. Who is your mathematician? What kind of mathematics do they do? What is their job? What made you choose this particular mathematician? What do you find interesting about them? And then after reading and watching submissions from 2 to 3 of your peers, sort of comparing and contrasting what's similar versus what's different between them, okay? Now, if you click on this page with links to more interviews with mathematicians, you'll notice that hopefully I've tried to select a fairly representative group of folks, okay? So like right now, I know some of you know that I'm in my own classes, so I'm taking this graduate level math class, and literally every chapter, at the start of the chapter in the textbook, there's a picture of like a famous mathematician. But for lack of a better descriptor, they're all super old dead white guys. Like that's kind of it. Like Pythagoras is cool and all, but like, you know, the stuff that he did way back then, like I'm curious about what people are doing now. And so one of the purposes of saying, hey, go out there, see what kind of mathematicians are out there, is to think about like what are people currently doing. Like math is constantly evolving, and I think sometimes we think that it's just made up by like these people who died like a long time ago, but I think that there's a lot of other new cool folks out there doing some really new cool things. If there is someone who is not on the page that you would like to, you know, find a video of and learn more about them, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay. Please don't. I mean, you can, but okay. Option number 2, there will be a homework assignment. There is a homework assignment on WebAssign. It has 18 questions, and I've added a button where it says show your work. Okay. The reason why is I think that some of us really just struggled. Done. Some of them just really struggled. Some people really struggled to say like, okay, I know 95% of my questions correct. I typed it wrong into WebAssign and WebAssign's not giving me credit for it. So I just want to try and bridge that gap a little bit where I'll be able to go back and look at your work and kind of see like, did you really get the question wrong or did you just type it in wrong? Okay. Which might be less of an issue now that you have like 1,000 tries, but still. Option number 3, which is always going to be here, is you propose your own topic. You write a 1 to 2 page report. I'm not looking for like a lot of pages. Please don't send me a lot of pages, okay? 1 to 2 pages tops on a mathematical topic that interests you, okay? And if you click here, I'll bring you to another page that has sort of a little bit of a descriptor about how much, like what kind of parts you need to have to this small report, emphasis on the small. Okay, again, I'm not looking for like a 4 to 5 page paper or anything. But I did list some prompts that some of you might find interesting. So take a look at those. If you want to research just a random topic, you're always welcome to do that. For example, if you don't know about modular arithmetic, I actually think modular arithmetic is pretty cool and applies super, super well to trigonometry, okay? Some of you last course talked about proofs and like, how do we really know that things are true? And this could be an opportunity for you kind of to explore that a little bit. Or there is actually a very famous formula called Euler's formula. Take a look at that, describe it, see how it's used, see what it actually does, or propose your own topic, okay? So, oh, Richard, we have like a whole unit on proofs. It's gonna be so good though. It's gonna be so good. So good. Okay, so blah, 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 enough of me talking. What kind of questions do we have so far? Let me go back in and make sure I haven't missed anything in the chat. Yes, if you have, yes, would a teacher of middle school math count? Sure, yeah. Oh, Eric. So I think with this particular week, we are looking at just like the idea of getting to know a person and what that person does. But in future weeks, we could certainly do things like, you know, bring your favorite video or whatever, as options for this math and writing assignment. Okay, so this is the first time that I'm going to be trying a bunch of this stuff, and so I'm very open to feedback in terms of what you want to see with the math and writing assignments. I think there's a lot of room for your creativity to come out here, and that's really the purpose of including this and not limiting us to just like drill and kill all the time with the math, but like how can we really not just develop an understanding for it, but also like a love for the math. Okay. Does this mean you know what though, Eric? It's actually kind of fun because then it's like not the same numbers all the time. Does this mean you have three different things to look at for the first homework? It means you get to choose which one of these you would like to do. Okay, so Natalia, you don't need to do all three of them. If you want to pick a math topic and do like a report on it, you're welcome to do that. Um, if you ah, if you want to do the interview with a mathematician, you can do that. If you want to just do a web assignment, you are also welcome to do that. And you only need to do one of the three. Okay, so don't go doing all three options every single week. That's not the point of this. This is to give you a little bit of voice and choice in the work that you do here. Okay. No, actually, it's totally fine. It's totally fine with the all the different places. Like, if you're gonna submit a writing assignment, then you just send me a PDF, easy for me to read. If you're gonna participate in the video discussion thing, you can post to the discussion board and I can look there. And if I do WebAssign, I can check the website exactly. So it's really not a big deal. But thank you for being so considerate. Yeah, so for those of you who are new, back in August, which feels like yay. Back in August, we all did some flip grids to kind of get to know each other a little bit. What do you guys think? What's sort of a good way to get everyone else on board? Should we just make them do it? New folks, what do you think? I hope you don't feel like you're being bullied. So Flipgrid is like a little video platform. I guess it's not really that different than any other video. Yeah, it's just recording a short video of yourself, introducing yourself, what your hopes and dreams are. Yeah, and then you can go check out all the other people in class too. So it's not just that they get to creep on your video, but you also get to know them. Sounds like John, you really want to do one. Is that what I'm hearing? All right. Well, let's do this. Oh, good. We have 35 folks. Okay. So what we're going to do before we jump into some actual math content for today, I'm going to throw you folks into some breakout rooms. I'm going to give you like 5 to 10 minutes to chit chat with each other about whatever you want to chit chat about. If there are new folks in your room, take a moment, ask them how they are. Ask them if you can help in any way, okay? I think Eric and John are gonna just be the Flipgrid folks. We'll just make them do it. Nobody else has to do it. Okay. Ah. All right. Well, we will do some random breakout rooms. You may or may not have new folks in there. But I'll give you about 5 to 10 minutes. You can chit chat with each other, be honest about how bad this class is going to be. Just kidding. Don't tell them yet. And I will see you back here in about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll jump on into 5.1. Okay?